This is Keith. In 2015, he lost his wife Val to dementia. It is an illness that will affect many of us in years to come, although we may not yet know it. During the long and painful final journey, he was helped on many occasions by the specialist staff at Spencer Ward at the Cavendish Hospital in Buxton. The ward is now closing, and that support is to be replaced by a mobile rapid response team that will support patients at home in time of crisis. Although in years to come this team is likely to be based in Buxton, there will be no provision for inpatient hospital care, even when the proposed new medical facility is built in the town centre. When inpatient care is required, the patient will be admitted to Walton Hospital in Chesterfield. Walton Hospital will serve patients that previously used the facility at the Cavendish Hospital, and they live as far away as Hayfield. We are making the journey from Hayfield to Chesterfield by public transport to see the difficulties that might be encountered by relatives as they try to visit their loved ones under the new arrangements. It's 10:10, and we are at Hayfield bus station awaiting the arrival of the 10:14 bus. Not many patients are admitted from this far away, but many will have to make a similar journey to Buxton and on towards Chesterfield. Travel in this part of the country is not easy, particularly in winter time.
One of my concerns, having undertaken the journey now, is that in adverse weather conditions, the Long Hill route is one that is very frequently closed, so you could end up getting to the hospital but be unable to return to Buxton.
Yes, it will particularly affect the Hayfield people because it's that Long Hill stretch that's the really bad stretch.
Dementia care is guided by the motto, familiar places, familiar faces, and patients need time and reassurance when moving to a new situation. Staff at the Spencer Ward often took patients to look at the view from the ward window. The sight of Solomon's Temple and the Buxton skyline reassured most that they were indeed in a familiar place. 40 minutes into our journey, and we are arriving at the Cavendish Hospital. But this ward is now closing, and some Buxton residents have turned up to express their views on that. Relatives will now have to continue their journey on to Chesterfield. But first, a 40-minute wait on the highest marketplace in England before we get the next bus to Matlock.
Weren't we, that respite care would happen in local care homes, but I'm worried that local care homes are having to shut now.
Yes.
I understand we've got a rapid response team, but what about all the other things that Spencer Ward used to do?
Yes.
Do either of you know what's going to happen? No.
And we're not being given that information either.
We have contacted some local care homes, and although most are willing to take dementia patients, very few are equipped to handle the more complex behaviour cases. In the past, these were usually referred to the Spencer Ward, which had secure facilities. Also, because they need to maintain full capacity wherever possible to stay financially viable, they do not accept advance bookings a few months ahead for, let's say, a planned holiday for the carer. These care homes do not look likely to provide better care than that which was provided by Spencer Ward.
And without adequate respite care, many carers will completely collapse and just not be able to keep going. And what would have been respite care will turn out to be permanent care.
And also, you'll get two people needing care.
Yes,
the person
right.
with dementia and their carer.
Yes, yes.
We are now arriving in Matlock. It's 12:40. We've been travelling for almost 2.5 hours. Only 35 minutes to wait this time for the bus to Chesterfield. Under the original proposals put forward by the Clinical Commissioning Group, Spencer Ward would have closed in October 2020, which would have given adequate time for the appointment, training and evaluation of new rapid response teams. Presumably for financial reasons, this closure has taken place 2.5 years earlier than planned, and the response teams will not be fully operational until September this year. This uncertainty has led to many valuable and experienced staff at Spencer Ward leaving to find a more secure career route. The High Peak has an older population than England as a whole, and is therefore going to be more susceptible to cases of dementia. The current figures used to justify the new arrangements are likely to increase in future. At last we arrive at Walton Hospital.
Right, it's 1:46 now. So what time did you get on the bus at Hayfield?
10:15.
10:15. 11, 12, 1. So it's 3.5
3.5
hours.
almost exactly 3.5 hours.
And if we were visiting somebody, visiting doesn't actually start until 2:30. And I believe that it's 2:37
Yeah, the return
for
bus.
the return bus.
Yes.
So,
Hopeless.
In the consultation, we were promised better care closer to home. In all that I've said, is this really better care closer to home?
With the uncertainty about arrangements for respite care and the rushed closure of Spencer Ward ahead of schedule, these promises don't look credible. There must be a rapid response team based in Buxton, and the new planned medical facility should provide for inpatient dementia care in years to come, to avoid the journey that we have undertaken today.
Not the best.
Not the best
Not the
arrangement.
best.